representation is a big thing, and I hope that myself, Indy, Rhea, the people that are doing these things, hopefully inspire a whole new generation back home.
Hey there, everyone. Rick Ucchino here once again for Sportskeeda Wrestling, and my next guest is a big one. Dare I say, colossal. He defeated Johnny Gargano last week on NXT to become the new North American Champion. He is the man with the best Titantron video in the business. Bronson Reed joining me now. First off, congratulations, and thank you for your time today.
No, thank you so much, and I agree with you. I think I have the best Titantron in the business.
It's so good, man. It's so simple yet so effective. It sells everything. It's a beauty to watch every time you come down to the ring. But speaking of beauties, your match last week with Johnny Gargano was fantastic, and I want to hop to the finish first. You could see it in the ring, man, as the 3 count was being made, all the emotion pouring out there. 14-year journey to the day, culminating with that championship win. You know, what was going through your mind at the time? I know you said you were overwhelmed, but were you able to process anything in the moment at the time?
I mean, it was very overwhelming. You know, I remember grabbing the North American title, holding it up and looking at it. And I was just trying to let that sink in that, like, hey, something that you've dreamed about since you were a little kid, you've just done. But at the same time, you know, I have the pyro going off, like, you know, all these people around me. And then eventually my wife was in the ring. So it was hard to sort of process. But I was very happy that I got to not only have that moment, but have that moment with my wife there in attendance as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're already overwhelmed with emotion, and then she gets into the ring, and then you know the crowd is chanting her name. I'm sure that really didn't settle you down at all a little bit.
No, not at all. And you know, bless the NXT universe, the crowd for doing that. Like that really touched my heart. It's something that I won't forget. You know, that they were chanting for her.
You know, you talk about a 14-year journey, and you know you need that support system with you, especially, you know, trying to make it to where you are in the business that you are doing. So, I mean, just to have her in the ring with you, like you said, and maybe expound upon it a little bit, just how much that meant to you.
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes in this business, you can be unsure of yourself. You know, you can doubt yourself. 14 years, I've had that journeyman career where I went from the independents to Japan to wherever I could to try and get to here. And you do have detractors that say, hey, maybe you should look at a different career path. Maybe it won't happen. And luckily for me, my wife was the one that pushed me towards sticking to my guns and getting what I want from life. And it means a lot to me that she's done that.
And here you are, North American Champion. About a week later now, has it sunk in yet? More importantly, have you put the title down yet? Because I remember winning my fantasy football championship belt, and I wore that thing around the house for 2 weeks. So I can't imagine what you've been doing.
I mean, it has sunk in. I've had some time this weekend to sort of reflect and start, you know, getting a game plan in my head of how I want to be a champion and what I want to do. I have put it down, but it's sort of sat up here, you know, on display almost. So
I like it. It's a great background piece. It's a lot better than anything I got going on back here. Again, I love the match with Johnny this past week. The finish in particular, because you had a chance to walk out of the cage, and you did. Yes. You emphatically slammed it shut, climbed up to the top rope, hit the big tsunami, got the 1, 2, 3. I think it made for such a perfect ending to that match and really added to that title victory.
Yeah, you said it perfect, emphatically. That's the way I wanted to win. I wanted to make a statement win. Not only am I the new North American champion, but I did it by not escaping the cage, not walking through the door, but by hitting the tsunami and getting the 1, 2, 3.
Right, and it was kind of symbolic too, right? Because you could have taken the easy way out.
Yes,
but you chose not to.
Could have. Yeah, I grabbed that door, I slammed it shut, I walked to that top rope, and that's all she wrote.
A big win, not only for you, but for Australia as well. I mean, you guys we're starting to see a bit of a takeover here in WWE.
Yeah, definitely. There's 3 champions now in WWE. Myself, Rhea Ripley, Indy Hartwell, and with the Australian wrestling scene, how it is at the moment, I can see that there'll be a lot of future Australian champions in the WWE.
And this is kind of a big deal for your country because you guys are trying to carve a path that really hasn't been carved before.
Yes. You know, as a child growing up, huge wrestling fan. Like I had so many favorite wrestlers, but I wish that one of them could have been Australian. You know, representation is a big thing, and I hope that myself, Indy, Rhea, the people that are doing these things, hopefully inspire a whole new generation back home.
Of course, a major title win. That means you got to go back. You got to get the photo with Triple H.
The point.
The pointing photo, iconic. You know, what was that reception like when you got backstage, and what did Triple H say to you if you're willing to divulge that?
Yeah, I mean, again, that stuff is so overwhelming. I got backstage. There was a big round of applause from all my peers, which it makes you even more like tear up more. And the first people I see are Shawn Michaels and Triple H, and they both embraced me, hugged me, congratulated me. And I said to Triple H that this is, you know, I'm going to work hard because I want more of these. I want more championships. Sure. And he said to me, this is only the beginning. So it means a lot to me that he's instilled his faith into me. And, you know, that's the first finger point photo. Hopefully there'll be more.
Many, many more. And, you know, we've already brought it up a couple of times here. You know, the big story coming out of this was that 14-year journey. You talked about 10, 11 years on the indie scene in Australia before he came over. You know, looking on all of that back now, you know, what was that most difficult part for you, and how rewarding does it feel now knowing where you are here today as the new North American champion?
Yeah, I think the most difficult part for me was that Australian wrestling for the longest time was just not seen on the same level as obviously here in the USA or the UK scene, the Japanese scene. It sort of was forgotten about. And Australian wrestling in the 60s, 70s was a huge market. It was on television. We had stars like Andre the Giant, those sort of people come to Australia to be able to be seen. And I wanted to try and get back to that. So in my journey in Australia, I was trying to push for Australian wrestling to be the best it can be, and then get to a global stage like this and hopefully elevate it again.
Let's talk about Johnny Gargano for a second here. You'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who doesn't consider him one of the greatest performers in NXT history, the only multi-time North American champion to date. You know, what was that experience like, you know, working with him, and what did you take away from these last two big matches that the two of you had?
I think he's an incredible talent. He's definitely someone that you respect even more once you've been in the ring with him. And I'd love to be able to face him again. You know, I hope that's not the last time that we get to have a showdown in the ring. But for now, I'd like to open my championship to different people.
All right, that's fair, and we'll get to that coming up in a little bit. But you know, just kind of staying with Johnny here, it was a great story that the two of you told. You know, last Tuesday, obviously, Johnny having to do whatever he could to overcome the size advantage that you had.
Yes.
He found a way to powerbomb you. I'm assuming that hasn't happened too much in your career, I would assume.
No. The only other person I can think of that's powerbombed me is Walter. So you can see that.
Okay, that's a notch in the cap for Johnny right there. You know, two completely different wrestlers there. You talk about Johnny Gargano and Walter. For you, do you prefer wrestling the smaller opponent like Johnny, where you can use your size to advantage, or do you like standing toe to toe with the big boys?
I love doing both. I think both have different benefits. I think maybe stylistically, the bigger man, smaller man match is better. I think it can be a little bit more exciting. You know, if you look at something like an Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, like it works so well. There's such a dynamic there. So I think that's why myself and Johnny has worked really well on television.
And it's kind of I don't know, it's kind of a reverse dynamic there, because typically when you got the smaller guy going up against the bigger guy, it's the smaller guy, like Daniel Bryan, who's trying to overcome the Dave Bautista, and he's got the crowd support on. Reverse roles this time around.
Yeah, it's definitely a different story that way. So I think it's still exciting to watch. You know, I'm me. Like, I've always been honest with all of the fans. I've always been honest as a performer, that you get Bronson Reed is just me, everyday life, but just turned up to 10. So I hope that people got behind me and are happy to see a new champion.
You tweeted out something late last night, and I'm glad you did, because this is something that kind of speaks to me as a bigger guy who going through life. You know, you acknowledging that you don't look like what an athlete is supposed to look like.
Yes.
Has battling that perception been a constant struggle throughout your career?
Oh, 100%. So when I started my career, I was maybe 40 pounds lighter. I knew that to get to where I wanted to get, I needed to get bigger. So I started doing some powerlifting. And along with powerlifting, I gained some weight. So I've always been that bigger guy, even as a teenager. Like I've always just been a bigger sort of person. And it's something in the back of your mind that, like, hey, people are going to speak about this. And I still get it today. You know, you're going to get internet trolls that constantly say things.
No, not
But
on the internet.
but I hope that I can again be an inspiration to people of different body types that, hey, you can break the mold, but you can still be successful. And that tweet that I put up last night was actually a quote from Dusty Rhodes, and he's the perfect example of that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like, how do you get to that point, you know, where you're comfortable with it and you're trying to help other people along? Like, how did you overcome, you know, the people saying that and insecurities and things like that?
Yeah, I feel like nowadays we have so many hybrid athletes. You know, you have guys like Keith Lee and myself that aren't just your lumbering big guys. And I think that's where we prove people wrong. Like we can do whatever anyone else can do and more. So for me, I've always had that positive mindset that positivity breeds positivity and negativity breeds negativity. So I just try to shut out the haters and look at all the positive.
All right. Well, let's look ahead to a lot of positives for you. You have said you are welcome to all challengers, but you've also got some pretty lofty goals for this title run. You brought up RVD
Yes.
and his
Yes.
700-day reign as ECW television champion. You want to do that for the North American title. So, you know, what needs to happen for you to have that kind of run? What's going to help you achieve that goal?
I think I just stay focused, stay on the same path that I'm on. My thing is RVD was so inspiring through that ECW title run as the television champion because he made that championship almost the main championship. You know, you could arguably say when you're watching an ECW pay-per-view that, hey, I want to watch the television title match more than the ECW title match. And that's sort of my goal. Whether it's a lengthy reign like that, I'm hoping so, but
Sure.
I just want it to be that the North American title matches are the ones that you have to watch.
Right. And you know that we've seen that, you know, in WWE. I think back to Seth Rollins when he had the Intercontinental Championship. It felt like the
Of
biggest thing in
course.
the show. Last Friday on SmackDown, that fatal four-way for the Intercontinental title, all those guys fighting over it, you know, it made it feel like it was the most important thing in the entire company. And so that's what you want to bring out of this North American title run. And I wish you all the best in doing that. Obviously, NXT Tuesday night, already a colossal
Yes.
show, pun intended.
Yes.
We have Karrion Kross and Finn Balor for the NXT Championship. We're going to see the $1 Million Face-Off with Cameron Grimes and Ted DiBiase. That's going to be great.
Yes.
What can we expect out of Bronson Reed Tuesday night, and who do you hope steps up to you first?
Well, what you can expect is to see, you know, the new North American champion for the first time on television. So I'm going to be there. I'm not sure who wants to step up or who is going to step up, but I welcome them.
Now, are we going to see you do a little dance down to the ring like Johnny Gargano did when he won that title for the third time?
Probably not. I'll stick with my cool Titantron and maybe not do the dance.
Good stuff, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, and good luck moving forward.
Thank you so much, Rick. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.